members of NEC who are here in your different capacities. I may not single out each one of you. Youth from all walks of life, from different sectors, specifically those from institutions of higher learning, Makerere, I understand it's KIU, Makerere, Chambogo, wherever, all of you, and the women here who have assembled, allow me salute all of you, first and foremost for defying all the odds that are militating against us to be able to make it to this particular symposium. I thank you very, very much. I know it has not been easy for you to come here. You are facing all sorts of intimidation, manipulation, threats, and of course some allurements not to come here. Because they are using carrot and stick. They are whipping you. If you decide to come here, they threaten you with the expulsion or being purged from the party. And they also, as I said, the allurements, they are trying to entice you with some handouts. For you to resist all those evil maneuvers and decide to come here, it means you are truly for the cause, and I must salute all of you. I thank you very, very much. So extend my thanks to you for sparing time. Of course, I know the students, today is a day you should be attending lectures, or you should be in the library, or doing coursework, or whatever. You have different assignments. But sparing this time for a national cause, it's a mark of patriotism and commitment to the struggle. I thank you. I'm sure my work is very simple here. It would appear you have gotten wonderful speeches from colleagues who have spoken before me, especially people who have seen it all, like the Honorable Salam Musumbe here, right from inception. And by the grace of God, she has survived to see what is happening today. There are those who could not make it. Many in the struggle, like she has told you. So I'm sure they have done justice to the subject at hand. You people drink from a cup of wisdom, tapping from a wealth of experience and the information which is really valuable. And many others, the Honorable Semujumu Ijuche and those who have talked here. I'll just concentrate specifically on what I would consider the takeaways from here. What are those 1, 2, 3 things that are critical that you should focus on as takeaways? Number one, in your journey as political leaders, young political leaders, I entreat you, I implore you to always be guided by a particular philosophy. Or else you'll be a loose cannon. You'll be lost in the jungle. There must be a philosophy guiding you. And the philosophy is the frame, what the Baganda call akatiba in life. And every other thing that you have to do, try to fit it in within that particular frame, within that particular philosophy. If you find that you are asked to do does not fit within that particular philosophy guiding your life, I'm talking about at individual level, first and foremost, before we talk about aggregation of interest. Because what is a political party? It's about aggregating your vision, your interests, and you walk the journey together. So all of us here, if we have a particular philosophy and that philosophy rhymes with one another's vision, it is the reason you have to walk in a single file. And naturally, when you consolidate that philosophy and aggregate it, those who the view will naturally fall by the wayside. Always ask yourself, what is my philosophy in life? If you have nothing, you have no reason to live. Yes, I repeat it. If you have no philosophy in life, you are just passing through the world. The Swahilis call it walking bila mupango. Kutayaya. No, my dear sister Farida may feel offended. Kutayaya in Runyakitara means something else. Kutayaya. Means what? Okutayaya. Kwenjera no kutayaya. Kuzunga. Yes, ubiro musingo uzunga. Muchewale nnyo bannange. It is dangerous. It is the reason you will be oscillating from one point to another. And it will be very easy people to use you if you have no philosophy. It will be very, very easy to swing from one pole to another. Actually, if you have no philosophy today, you may be here. The next minute you are here and they will use you. And that is dangerous. If there is anything I detest in life, is to be used. And it's the reason I don't want to use it. So as youth, guard against being used. We don't want to use you. Reason. And the only way you can take your own decision, a cautious decision, if you have a philosophy. And say, no way, this I will not do. And it will help you navigate a terrible terrain, the murky waters of the politics of this country. Honorable Sam has told you here, she's in a war mode. Not by choice. No, the circumstances will compel you, if you have a philosophy, to be in a war mode. That's why I don't regret anybody describing me as a warrior or your Lukwago Wantaro. Yes, in the Wantaro. That is it. Because I have a philosophy. And you are trying to force me to take a direction which I believe is repugnant to my philosophy. I will not accept. I will fight. Whether mobilized, whether compelled, no, I will not even to be mobilized. I will not wait. That's why some of us, right from the youthful days, you try to study the journey we have walked. These days, yalwana eno, alwana mu kibuga, alwana mu DP, kati alwana mu FDC. I don't regret that. There is a reason. Am I fighting a just war? Yes. It is if the war is justified, to hell with whatever propaganda they are making against me. As early as 1999, I finished school, LDC, 1998. 1998, that's when I finished LDC. I enrolled as an advocate on the 18th day of November 1998. You get that date? But by April the following year, 1999, I was handling one of the most historical cases in this country versus Dr. Sulaiman Chikundu. 1999. We were so many lawyers, but by the time Dr. Chikundu died, I was all alone. I was all alone. You're going to ask. I visited Dr. Chikundu in Luzira where he spent 6 months, almost. Okusasula senteze saba from my own bank. And the issue was, if that is what will get you out of jail, he said, over my dead body. I don't want to see anybody, anyone, struggling to raise that money that is paying to get Dr. Chikundu out of jail. He was being guided by a particular philosophy that he was going to fight that injustice, whatever it takes. And we had to fight the cases. The rest is history. Up to now, I still have a huge fight of Dr. Sulaiman Chikundu and many others. But back to the point I was making, Dr. Chikundu trusted me younger as I was. That's one thing I treasure in life. 1999. Who of you can trust somebody who has just finished law school to handle a case of life and death of that magnitude? So I'm not saying this to show off, but I'm telling you, you may look at some of us today and you think we are pampered by particular individuals. I hear some people these days talk, my father was a peasant farmer. He's not the one who brought me into this struggle. I brought myself into this struggle. So the first point I was making, have a philosophy. The second one, be self-driven. Be self-driven, self-motivated. Don't wait to be dragged. And if that message finds simple-minded people, it is quite appeasing, convincing. Where okay, my firstborn has just finished senior 1. Senior 5, senior 6 rather. Now you are asking me, watch Tumwine. Okay, let me forget about my children. I'm not here to drag you people into the struggle because you are not going to fight for me. It is your rights, it's your country, it's your destiny. That's what motivated us to join the struggle. It was not my father who brought me into this. That I was fighting for my father, who was a peasant farmer, and he died at the age of 93. So it's up to you. Be self-motivated. You are not here because You want to please Dr. KIZZA BESIGYE, or to be seen that you are also, that Dr. BESIGYE, ati yatuleta mu bino, yatugambye bino. If that is your thinking, if that is your philosophy, your mentality, you are in a wrong place. You are in a wrong place. I've been mentored by 3 key pillars in life, in politics. Dr. Sulaiman Chigudu have told you how close I was, and as up to now how close I am to the family. Very, very instrumental in my life. The next person was Dr. Pukaonga Semogere. If you ask him, I was a son in his home. What we went through with the Dr. Semogere, 1993, rather 1999, same year Dr. Chigudu appointed me to be part of his legal team when I'd just finished, just a few months in practice. It's when also Dr. Pukaonga Semogere recruited me into the legal team of DP, and we handled so many cases. They entrusted with me all those cases about referendum and what not and so on and so forth. So many. Until his death. Even on the day he died, we were supposed to have a meeting. The third person is Dr. KIZZA BESIGYE. Since 2000. For the record, it was, yesterday was which date? 3rd of October, 1999, when Dr. BESIGYE fired the first bullet against this regime. Bullet, quote unquote. It was at the burial of the late Sekweyama. Sekweyama was one of such key pillars in DP. He died mysteriously in an accident along Masaka Road. So at the burial, Dr. KIZZA BESIGYE made a statement about the regime when he was still a serving military officer. And said, you know, the direction you are taking in this country is not what took us to the bush. You have betrayed the cause that took us to the bush. We are not going to follow you anymore. When he was still a serving arm officer. And the rest is history. Go and read the Unfinished Business and a couple of these. You people, read, get information. I have a problem with this generation. You're fed on crap, propaganda in the social media, very weak. Even you say, let me tell you, if you wrote something informative and it's about 5 pages and put it in the social media, they'll tell you, now we learn to summarize. They don't want to read. This generation, read and get literature. Get that book and read it. So it was on that day, on that occasion, and how he suffered. But since that time, we have worked together, and I can proudly say the journey I've walked with Dr. BESIGYE, there is quite a lot that I've learned from him. Quite a lot. He never compelled me to join him. No. And he has never asked me, please, Lukwago, fight for me. It has not happened. So what makes you think that when you join the struggle, you are helping Dr. KIZZA BESIGYE? What makes you think so? I told you the other day how I was appointed to be part of the legal team that handled Dr. KIZZA BESIGYE's case. In 2001, I was part of the legal team. Mine was to head the team that was collecting affidavits from within the Buganda region. Because we mapped out to the entire country for his collection of evidence. So in that mapping out, I was entrusted with the Buganda region to collect affidavits. I told you what we went through, how even witnesses were arrested in Zimbabwe and charged with treason, and I had to fight those cases. And a couple of other things that happened along the way. Even the election, it's not only Dr. BESIGYE's election which had been rigged. Even Winnie Byanyima, who had won, They wanted to throw her out. Ngoma Ngimi. You can look at the record. Who were the lawyers? Myself. I was there together with, of course, there were others. Ngaruye Ruhindi and others, many others. But it was a key fee. And then, when Dr. BESIGYE escaped, and they raided his home in Luzira, they arrested Winnie Byanyima. Actually, I handled that case single-handedly at the law firm. This one, it was not even a big team. It was myself and my partner, Alaka Kare. Winnie Byanyima on the charges of being in possession of a pistol, which they said belonged to Dr. BESIGYE, who had fled the country. And when he fled, so many people here, activists, were arrested. Many of them were charged with the treason. Treason. Many of them. Because at that time, they were talking about PRA suspects. Many of you this may sound something strange, as if it's a story, a fairy tale. But if we were to relive what exactly happened at that time, oh my God, it was horrible. Very hostile environment. Many people lost their lives. Many people were charged on fabricated. My office, myself, every now and again running from one court to another. The former chairperson of the Electoral Commission of the FDC, Danny Mugarura. Every now and again, actually, he has to celebrate 8th January. Because at that 8th January, he was in Kisasi here where I was staying. They had to jump over his fence and picked him from there. He ended up in a safe house. And they put him somewhere where they were rearing crocodiles and what are these son of what are they called? Eh? The red ants and whatnot. They were biting him. This, and lots of things happening. I had to fight for him. That I handled alone. Nobody else, alone. You ask Danny Mugarura. We were together with his wife Florence all through. And Kisasi became my home. That's where I was, all through. There is, those of you who come from Teso, there is Mzee Gwango Rebe. You ask him, Mzee Gwango, is there any in Ngora? We visited him recently in his home. Ogwango Rebe, Charles Ekem, they were also put on prison that they were found in Mabira. They said they were found in Mabira, plotting to overthrow the regime, and they were put on prison. In that they were seated in Mabira. And we had to suffer with that case. All through finally getting an acquittal. It was not that easy. You ask, there is this lawyer we worked together closely. He's also from Toroma. He was buried in Toroma. Okiring. You know Okiring very well. How many have visited his graveyard there? He's there. But the way Okiring suffered right from DRC, wherever, here, and whatnot, and eventually they got him, he was killed, buried. But we worked closely with Okiring and many others. I don't know many of you who can talk to Chiemba Mutale, who will find out Chiemba Mutale, not Kakoza Mutale. Chiemba Mutale was almost hacked to death during the invasion of the courts by the Black Mambas. We are there. Those guys who sealed off the chambers of the judge, they got a pang and cut him. Cut him literally. So if we were to sit down and relate to you these stories, you'll understand the pain we have when you hear people ask you, where? Watabula DP, or Yagaratabula FDC, Wakaja. You get all that kind of pain. The other day I told you about the story of Dr. BESIGYE when we were arraigned before the General Court Martial. It is Honorable Sarah Musumba here, who she collected 1,000 in coins when General Tumwine had convicted me and Alaka on charges of treason when we were representing Dr. KIZZA BESIGYE in that case. And lots of things we went through during those inchoate days of reform agenda. That's why I'm saying, I am proudly saying, I am a member, I'll remain a member historically and now of the reform agenda. Nobody. So I want to stand on a pedestal anywhere. We bring out all those facts. We want those facts to come out. So finally, one of the takeaways in any struggle, betrayal is not only criminal, sacrilegious. And that's why in the army, they can execute you. It is dangerous. Betrayal. And that will be my last point. You can only betray somebody you have worked with. You cannot betray a stranger. Today, Museveni cannot accuse me of any betrayal. I've never worked with him, so I cannot betray him. You get it? I can't betray him. But I've told you, if I did anything contrary to what Dr. Sulaiman Chigundu believed in, because I worked closely with Dr. Sulaiman Chigundu, it would be a betrayal of the highest order. That's why even when they opened up the investigation in the collapse of the banks, I think at that time they wanted to open a window to find a way of how they can help Sudiri after they had taken over Crane Bank. I seized the opportunity of factoring in, of slotting in the Sulaiman Chigundu matter. I wrote to the Honorable Abdul Katuntu, bringing out all this information, including the dossiers that had been raised by Dr. Sulaiman, and all the evidence we had taken to court. I said, this is very recent. And I said, the first family, Museveni, Salimu Saleh, Muhozi, they are all involved in this. Jovia Saleh, and all of them. I got that evidence. It's just recent. I took it. Unfortunately, with all due respect, my colleague, the Katuntu, and the team, that aspect was never captured. But if any opportunity avails itself, I still have the evidence. Every time I get the opportunity, I will present it anywhere, as long as I'm alive. Two, with Dr. Pokawanga Semogerere, if you ask him, he is one person who struggled to preserve DP. He died a very frustrated person, the way Mao is managing DP. And then you get somebody to have the audacity to say, by Lukwago fighting Mao, to sell DP to NRM, that I was wrong. If that is the judgment of Nanda, the judgment of power, so be it. That I was wrong to fight Mao, selling DP to NRM, that I was wrong. You can imagine. So if that is their judgment, it's up to them. Now, here we are, you people. The founding president, Honorable Salam here, was speaking with a lot of emotions about the history of the FDC. So it will be the biggest betrayal in your life if you ever acquiesced in the sale of the FDC for the people who sacrificed for it. On another day, the entire list should come out of all the forefathers who fought for it. Those who shed their blood. Those who were arraigned on charges of treason, charges of what, terrorism, and so on and so forth, and they ended up in jail without any trace, and those who lost their lives. So that is the reason for us whatever they say, it doesn't matter. It's not only the betrayal to the people who fought for this institution, but also Ugandans who shed blood to restore the constitutional order we are trying to preserve. And finally, for the posterity, generations to come, who are actually to whom we are going to bequeath this country. And so on that note, I want to reassure you that we are not bothered by whatever they are saying. Not at all. We are not bothered. If any of them thought that we shall have sleepless night because they have said A, B, C, D, that Lukwago you fought in DP, that Lukwago you are fought in KCCA, that Lukwago you are fighting so and so, tell them I am not bothered at all. At all. Assure them. Because I know I'm fighting a just cause. I know I'm guided by my philosophy. I know I'm not betraying anyone. You get the point? That is the message I wanted to drive home. I hope it's loud and clear. That is the message. And on that, we shall soldier on with the struggle, with the fortitude. Tomorrow, I would expect all of you to be in the court. Tomorrow, I'm giving you the calendar now. Yes, this is the calendar. You should have all these activities going forward. Tomorrow, we file the case against Dr. Bamwenda, challenging him, not about, by the way, any other thing, violating the sanctity of this Constitution. The sanctity of this Constitution. It's very, very clear. This is what bonds us together. This is what embodies the aspiration, the values of the FDC. This document embodies the values of the FDC. So one person, of course, in cahoot with his accomplices, they are moving left, right, center, in all directions to desecrate this sacrosanct document. We must say no. I don't have time to go through the relevant provisions, but the case is coming up tomorrow for an interim order or a temporary injunction stopping him from going ahead with his nefarious conduct, slated for Friday. They have been moving from one place to another. They said that function is going to be at Showgrounds. Grounds. That's where they had earlier on indicated it was going to be held. And that meeting, I hesitate to call it a delegates conference because it has not been baptized. A delegates conference is convened by the national chairperson. That is Ambassador Billy. We have cited Article 28. I think now it should be well memorized by all of you, Article 28. And members of the National Executive can only be elected at a national delegates conference under Article 23, Clause 3. At least you can cram those two provisions, 23 and 28. 23, members of elections at a national level can only be conducted at a delegates conference. And under Article 28 was demanded to do so, to convene and preside it over the national chairman. Now, the chairperson electoral commission does not have those powers. We have Dr. Bamwenda arrogating himself, of course, in collusion with the power Nandala to purport to call a delegates conference, and we have to stop it. It's the reason we had to take out those matters in the court. Yes, they were signed yesterday. They are before Justice Second. Of course, there may be justice. Justice may not be there. But the struggle continues. With or without a court order in our favor, we have to continue to struggle. So tomorrow, since yesterday we have been looking for Mr. Totolebuka Bamwenda, he's becoming a fugitive. Actually, as we are seated here, as we are giving you address, the clerk was calling me. Now what do I do? The man, he talked to him first and foremost in the morning. He told him, find me at my home in Wachiso. So the clerk had to use a boda to go to Wachiso. Reaching home, they told him, oh no, he has left, he has gone to Najana Nkumbi. Then he calls him and says, oh, find me in Najjanankumbi. Then he goes to Najjanankumbi. Reaching Najjanankumbi, they told him, no, he's at the venue where the conference is going to take place, some small place in Lukwago called Patida. Then he went to Patida. The manager of the place said, no one is here. So the clerk tells me now, I'm calling, the man is no longer picking. What do I do? So you allow me. I told him I am going to give my speech, because that's when I was about to give my speech. I told him, give me time, let me finish. I'll guide you on how to handle that. So the man, no, service has to be personal. Yeah, they say render it to the person himself. So we are, unless he says deliver it to such and such a place. So they are still hunting for him, but that will be handled. Don't worry. That is for us. It's for the lawyers. Yours is to come tomorrow in big numbers. There is this, the time, it's exactly midday. But I request you be there, because we shall be there before midday. 20 Plaza here, this is High Court here. Yes. Don't leave these matters to the lawyers alone. No, please. This is your matter. This is your case. You have interest in this matter. So let's be there, face Justice Sekana, and demand for justice. Okay? So tomorrow, at exactly midday, a decision will be. But either way it goes, don't get demoralized. I've told you, I've put you on notice. These institutions, we know they are also, they are also in captivity, like what Dr. BESIGYE has always said. All the institutions of state are under captivity. So any decision can happen. If it is in our favor, well and good. If it's against us, the struggle does not end there. And even if it's ruled against us, don't look up to me to ask, what next? No. Think from here onwards. Think of the direction we should take in the event that it does not come our way. Am I communicating? Yes. Is it clear? Yes. This business of assuming that somebody somewhere is sitting to think for us, of course we shall give you leadership. We shall offer leadership. But you should also be proactive. So tomorrow, I expect you in big numbers. Yeah. They are hired mercenaries who are there. Don't fear them. Don't, please. If you knew how those guys are trembling, even those who are at Najjanankumbi, the chiefs they have deployed there, they are also scared. The intel we get from there, oh my God, because we know their commanders, and you know their capacity. If I mention the names here, you know them. You are not the commanders of the chiefs, those who are paying them, those who are part of us, who are part of the party, and they went out to solicit for their services. If I mentioned just a few names, you know them, and you know their capacities. You know, abanafu with them in him. Gosobola okugamba wano tigenda okole kino nga takisobola. Nekati yefudde superstar, yefudde ow'amaanyi, bogeza eryanyi, bogeza ki. You get it? Timukkiriza. So, the last thing, as I conclude, Friday, we hope you know what to do on Friday. I hope. These people say they are going to Patida. If they are in Patida, we know where to go. You know where to? Somebody will tell you, oyo Lukwago abagamba, ayagala kubatisa. Ye lwaki taleeta abaana bange. If you know you are going to do it for Lukwago, don't go. Njagala okukiddamu. Bw'oba owulira nti buli kyokola, okikolera Lukwago, okikolera BESIGYE, sigala ewakaawo. Naye bw'oba owulira nti kikkakatako, nti olina obuvunaanyizibwa naawe, mu bulamu bwo okubaako kyokola,
mugenze ne mutubuuza era lwaki ntutte obudde wano okubannyonnyola saali tutte na budde bungi nga bwe nange ntutte mugenda ne mutubuuza nti naye mu Lukwago mukikoze mutya mbannyonnyoddeko katono naffe bwe tuzze tukikola buli kye mbadde nkola nga kisikolera Semwogere sikikolera Semaimani Kigulu sikikolera Besigye nga nange nkyekolera nga nkikkiririzaamu kakati gwalowooza nti ogenda kikolera Lukwago Salaamu Musumba Besigye obaani oli waddembe ugantize Lukwago tonzitisa naye bw'oba owulira nga naawe kikkakatako ng'ogamba nti bannange okufaana obutanyagwa nange lyettafaali lyennyina okuteeka ku kibiina kyange n'eggwanga lyange ku Lwokutaano luddawa abulira omugezi ayogera bitono. Thereafter we are going to sit as NEC to roll out the program on how we are going to go country to come, I mean to tour the entire country. Our country-wide campaign. We are waiting for a number of things to be fixed. It's work in progress. We shall be telling you the program after 7th, because we are going to sit as NEC. We agree on the country-wide tour. That program will be rolled out. Tujababulira where to start from, how it's going to play out, and all that nitty-gritty, the details will be given to you. But it's also high on our program, it's on our calendar. Please bear it in mind. But between now or Wariro, from here I've told you, I'm going back to the chambers to see how to serve and prepare all issues to do with the law. For us, we are going to prepare thoroughly all matters to do with the law to prepare for tomorrow. Ogwa mwegwa attendance. Ye program okuva kati paka enkya. Gamba muno nawe mobilizinga muno funa goddako nti enkya tugenda wa mu kooti. Ate saagala kuvaayo ombuuze nti biki ebibadde mu kooti beerawo naawe obyerabireko. Beerawo ogere kino ne kino. If there is anybody I miss in all this Kambabulire, if there is anybody I miss, Ingrid, yes. I miss Ingrid. I miss Stella. Stella, mwaliyo mwetwali mu kooti ku bintu by'akamasanyu. Hey. Stella yali mu kooti n'agamba nti kale oba mutwala musi. Niba mugamba saba beiru naga nno ne beiru sijja kugisaba. Oba nyina omusango umugunzi kule ko wano. Ne bugira buti nina abaliyo ne bagamba bagenda okulaba mulamuzi nga byasala bagenda bagamba kuba mu omuliro. Ne bagenda okulaba mulamuzi bagamba gwe kyoto kikapu kyalinga. Kati abaliyo ko olwo mbanyumiza ebyali mu kooti. Abaliyo ko olwo ku musango gwa Stella mbanyumiza ebyaliyo oba mubimanyi. Temwaliyo mu kooti. Mwabyerabirako oba mwabirimu. Mwabirimu. Kakati mwagala mbabuulire ekyokola singa ebintu ebitambula bulungi. Mwebale nnyo mwebalire ddala.